hope that you all are too. You cannot hear? Cannot hear? A little louder? Okay. We're here tonight to hear a topic that I'm very interested in. I hope that you all are too, called The Power of Neutrality. And we have my beautiful friend, Roberta, that's going to give us some very good information about neutrality that I'm excited to hear. So, Roberta, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Good night, everyone. Good night. Good evening. Can you guys hear me? Yeah? Everybody can hear me? I'm excited to hear myself as well. I gotta be honest with you guys. This week was really, really tough. Like, I moved. It was beautiful. A lot of progress. It was great. Can't complain. But I'm a little tired. But this topic is so amazing. I've learned so much from it when I was studying to do the PowerPoint. Very interesting, very interesting. They're still trying to, it's gonna be here, right? Okay, I see it. Okay. So let's talk about the power of neutrality. When I talk about neutrality, I talk about the power the ability of the self to let go of the ego through awareness, right? To listen to the emotional and rational mind with no judgment until it's completely impartial. Therefore, opening a direct connection with the wise mind, with the spirit. There, one will find neutrality. Our spirit is neutral. The spirit is divine. So that is the power of neutrality, right? We find that in our spirit because our spirit is neutral. So when we finally are able to connect, truly connect, and use our spirit as the biggest tool that we have, then we find that power of neutrality. That's how we find the power of neutrality. There's no other way. Of course, we have a tendency what happens is in our daily life, we are going about our day, doing our thing, right? And the tendency is to use, I talked about our emotional mind and our rational mind here last time. I don't know if you guys were here when I talked about it. Yeah? So the tendency of who we are, because what we learned, because we are programmed, right? Since we were born programmed to believe that our rational mind and our emotional mind are the only way that we can think and that we can function, right? We believe in that, and we are programmed to listen so much to the emotion, to hyper-focus so much on the emotion or the rationality, that we think those two are the driving forces of our lives, but they are not. And it's really hard to undo that understanding and that learning. It's really hard for us to understand that what drives our emotional mind and the rational mind is our ego. That we need to understand. That is what's driving our emotional and rational mind. You know, I work as a therapist, and it's what I do all day. You know, people come to me with anxiety, with depression, and feeling, emotionally drained. And I work with helping people to feel better, right? And the first thing that I tell my patients is, what you don't understand yet is that you are hyper-focusing on your emotional mind or your rational mind. That's why you are struggling. When you find yourself, and I tell all my patients to meditate. When you find yourself, who you really are, not your emotional mind or your rational, who you really are, your spirit. And when you get in contact with your spirit, that is when you're going to find peace. Because then they are going to rule your emotional and rational and your ego. Your spirit is going to rule that. So your spirit needs to be in control of all of this, right? These are just little tools we have. And of course we have them and we got to use them. That's why we have them, right? But the spirit needs to be in control. And look at this. So neutrality and spirituality, I already read this. The ability of the self to let go of the ego through awareness. Does everybody understand this? We need to use awareness to let go of this ego, to listen to the emotional and rational mind with no judgment. Because when you are in neutrality using your spirit, you are going to listen to the emotional mind. Of course, we have it, we listen to it, and the rational with no judgment. The problem is that we put judgment and that we judge ourselves. I'm not talking about judging other people. There's a huge path until we judge other people. If we are judging people, it's because we are judging ourselves first. So when I talk about judgment, I'm talking about we judge ourselves so harshly. So that's what I'm talking about here. So the emotional and rational mind with no judgment until it's completely impartial. Therefore, opening a direct connection with the wise mind, the spirit, there one will find neutrality. Because you will find your spirit. You will be connected to your spirit. So you will find neutrality. Our spiritual is neutral and the spirit is divine. Any questions here? Anybody? No? Okay. The soul, neutrality. We refrain from labeling things as positive or negative. So when we are in neutrality, when we find our spirit, we refrain from labeling things as positive or negative. When we have that connection with our spirit, with neutrality, we are not at war with our experiences. When we find our connection with neutrality, we are at peace with everything within and around us. We accept all emotions and events with equal receptivity. We are not be thrown by circumstances. So we are not thrown by circumstances when we find neutrality. It's so easy to read this and to sometimes understand, but I find it really hard to apply, right? Why do we find it hard to apply? Why do you guys think? What is your opinion? Why is it hard to apply all these things here? To refrain from labeling things as positive or negative? Why is this so hard? Why is it so hard to, not be in war with our experiences? Why do you guys think it's?
By the programming that we had.
Because of the program that we have, of course. And because of what? What did I say in the beginning?
Judgment, judging yourself.
Judgment, and because we are identifying, not always says that, we are identifying with our ego, right? We are identifying ourselves the whole time, everybody, all of us do that, with the emotional brain and the rational mind. The emotional mind and the rational mind. We are not our emotional mind. We are not our rational mind, right? And that's why I tell my patients, you are not your anxiety. You are not your depression. The problem is when someone is anxious, they are so fearful. We're going to talk about it in a little bit. And anxious is anxiety is directly connected with the fear of losing control, right? So, and I tell them, you are not. What's happening is It's almost like when people are struggling emotionally, it's almost as if they're putting a bigger lenses, right? And they are hyper focusing on their emotional brain, right? Because they are so connected, they identify themselves with their ego. How many people I see every day that I look inside their eyes and I say, did you know you have a spirit? And people go, A lot of people have to think about it before they actually, and that's usually where I start from with my patients. Did you know you have a spirit? Do you know? Do you believe that you have a spirit in you? Because that's the base of everything. And we should be so thankful that we know this information. But it's not everybody out there that knows this, right? So therefore, we need to have a little bit more compassion with people. Because we have knowledge, we have access to this knowledge. We are accessing this knowledge that we all have. Everybody in the world has this, could be accessing, but they don't know how to access, right? And we are learning here. That's why we come here, right? So neutrality unhooks you from your beliefs and thought patterns, and can be quite freeing, right? When you find your spirit, when you find yourself in that place of neutrality. But I bet some of you are already asking, how do I do that, right? I told you in the beginning, meditation. Meditation is the answer. And thought patterns, and it can be quite freeing. The energy in your space will flow smoother. And the opposite of neutrality, and I put soul there because it's the spirit, the opposite of the spirit is resistance, and I put ego, because that is what makes us act that way, right? It's that connection. It's us identifying with the ego that makes us act and have resistance, and that creates a thicker energy. Remember that everything, including you, is vibrating in a specific frequency. Depending on your level of awareness, will directly affect your capability to reach neutrality. Do you guys understand this? I think this is very deep, right? We are pure vibration. We vibrate, right? Depending on our level of awareness is where we are capable of vibrating, right? And that affects directly our capability to reach our soul, to connect with our spirit. It is the way that we interact with the energy of this vibration that we are that determines the result, and not the vibration itself. Do you guys understand this, or any questions? Yeah? What we resist persists. What we fight, we get more of. What we embrace dissolves. Carl Jung, a very famous, you guys know him. Resistance is our number one enemy when it comes to getting in touch with the spirit in order to reach neutrality. The major problem with being resistant is that it stagnates our energy, creating the perfect recipe for anxiety, right? So the major problem with being resistant is that it stagnates our energy, creating the perfect recipe for anxiety. And the recipe for anxiety is first judgment, fear, and then stress, right? Judgment, fear, and stress together creates anxiety. Any other opinion about what creates anxiety for you in your life? For an example, anybody here?
Worrying about the future.
Worry, very good. Mm-hmm.
Worry about the future is fear.
Fear. Worry about the future is fear. Yeah, very good.
What about control?
Control, yeah, control.
Stress.
Stress. Yeah. Control is stress. Fear, look, judgment, fear, and stress. Yeah. Anything else? Any other ideas of what creates? Think about what creates your anxiety sometimes. Why do we get anxious? Any other opinions of what creates your anxiety? How many times? Uncertainty. It's the fear. Yeah, very good. Uncertainty is fear.
Three of the main, right? And everything else you connect to them like a branch.
It's like a recipe, right? So it's very good, right, for us to learn something. Sometimes we have to focus on the opposite of that something, right? Neutrality, for an example. What is the opposite of neutrality, right? What creates anxiety, right? It's the judgment, it's the fear, it's the stress. Blame it on the brain, I say. According to John Cacioppo, director of the University of Chicago Center for Cognitive and Social Neuroscience, you can blame it on the brain. Even from an early age, when we watch bad news, our brain scans lights up when we watch bad news. If you scan your brain, the scan will light up, suggesting a built-in negative bias. Did you guys know that? Bias. Yeah? What happens when we watch good news? The opposite. The brain's electrical activity is quiet. So our brain's fear center is called amygdala. Okay? Bad news sells because the amygdala is always looking for something to fear. That is inside your brain. It's a little, right, in there, inside your brain. It's called amygdala. So when you take medications, for an example, for anxiety, the medication will send chemicals to your neuroconnectors, right, to quiet down, to your nervous system, to quiet down this part of the brain. You know, every drug works differently in different parts of the brain. That's why some people like alcohol, some people like, you know, marijuana, some people like different types of drugs, because it works. Every drug you try accelerates, activates a different part of your brain, right? And often people that struggle with depression, they often like alcohol. Anybody knows why? No?
I think it brings, you know, the alcohol or whatever you make the break the acid.
The depression?
Mm-hmm.
With alcohol?
Yeah, because it eliminates the feel of depression when you drink alcohol.
Yeah, but look at that. Let me tell you something. Alcohol, right? We studied that alcohol, when you drink it while you're drinking, yes. But later on, it accentuates. It accelerates. It makes you more depressed. And that's why you can't wait to have another drink. Because you are self-medicating. You want to drink more to go back to that cool feeling. It's that part of your brain that it's asking. That's why it creates craving. That's why you crave that drug, right? So we have to be very careful with drugs for that reason, because you don't become an addict. Nobody becomes an addict. That doesn't exist accordingly to science, right? You are born an addict. You are born an addict because if I get, let's say, her brain, a scan of her brain and a scan of her brain, I could scan her brain, and the shape of her brain, that is an alcoholic, an addict, is completely different than the shape of her brain. When a person is an addict, you can see the difference if you scan it. You are born an addict. You might never use drugs in your life, ever. By the way, addiction is not only about drugs. You can be addicted to sugar. You can be addicted to food. You can be addicted to porn. You can be,
Lying.
to lying. You can be addicted to anything. when we think about addiction, of course we're going to think drugs, but that is wrong, right? So going back to this, because if I go on this, I'll talk about something else. I used to work with addicts. I worked with addicts for many years in my life. I used to work at addiction centers. But okay, while there are no guarantees in life, too much activity within your primitive fear center, which is called amygdala, 100% certifies a lifetime supply of anxiety. So too much activity within your primitive fear center, that's what they call it, primitive fear center, the amygdala, 100% certifies a lifetime supply of anxiety. So look at this. What if there was a way to healthily and naturally upgrade this caveman-like brain region? They call it caveman-like brain region because it's all the way in there. It's a little part of the brain, all the way in there, that hides within the brain, right? You can through meditation. And it's proven. Look at this. Meditation, researchers from Boston University and Harvard Medical School, MRI brain scan participants before and after a series of mindfulness meditation classes with staggering results. In only 8 weeks, along with far fewer distress signals transmitted throughout the brain, the meditator's brain imaging for fear center electrical activity had gone silent. So what the scientists studied, they got a group of people, two different group of people that didn't meditate, that had anxiety, and people that meditated. And the people that meditated, this fear center, the amygdala, is like a switch. It turned off. The light turned off. No more anxiety. Because meditation does that to the brain. It was proven, scientifically proven, by the scientists from Boston and Harvard University. So what surprised the scientists the most, however, was that their anxiety engine, amygdala, somehow managed to physically shrink. This discovery has monumental implications. Many studies about it, not just one, many, hundreds. Knowing that it is indeed possible to, like the light switch in your bedroom, turn off, our primitive caveman brain hardware, the amygdala, we can put a variety of stress-related physical, emotional, and mental disorders in our rear view mirror. That means you can get rid of all these issues through meditation. And I swear to God, and I'm not kidding, I promise, I see patients, I have patients that I see for over 4 years. Some people I see every week, 5 years, they come back to treat them. And they come back, and some of them, not all of them, but they sit in front of me, and they say, I don't know what to do. And they're sweating, they're struggling, they're so anxious. And I do a little meditation with them, and I talk, and they talk about their issues. And at the end, I ask the same questions. 5 years, do you meditate? Are you meditating? Are you doing the guided meditation that I asked you to do at home? And they go, oh, I don't have time. It's so hard. It's so hard. You know, I work, and I it's so much that I have to. And they don't do it. Can you guys believe that? Like, I'm telling them that that's how they can get healed. That's how they can get rid of the anxiety. And they just simply don't do it. Is there a faster way, Roberta? Is there a better way? Is there something else that I can do? Because they don't have time. Meditation reverses anxiety through the relaxation response, it's called, by using meditation to simultaneously activate the parasympathetic nervous system while deactivating the body's fight and flight stress mode. His patients reverse countless health issues, with anxiety often the first domino to fall. Do you see? Look at this. Oh, can you guys see this? I thought this was really cool. So this is, can't read, but I'm gonna try to. Okay, I guess. Okay. Well, this is the body and the brain of people that don't meditate. And this is what happens to your body and your brain if you meditate. Look at this. Clouded thinking, panic attacks, migraines, headache. Because not everybody has anxiety, right? It comes out in so many different ways, right? Inability to focus, irritability, mood swings, teeth grinding. So if you have any of these issues, you can get rid of all of them through meditation, right? Faster, shallow breathing, muscle tension increases, inflammation increases, cold hands and feet before meditation, after meditation. Can you guys see it down there? Yeah? Weak discipline, weak immune system, fight or fight mode, mind chatter, low energy, insomnia, addiction, poor digestion, faster aging, heart rate. Why do you think I look so young?
Meditation.
I've been meditating for years. How old do you think I am?
13. 13.
I'm 47. Okay. Faster aging, heart rate increases, blood pressure increases, anxiety and depression. So if you meditate, look at what happens. You bring your brain to the alpha, theta, delta brainwave patterns increases if you meditate. Blood pressure, if you have blood pressure issues, your blood pressure will lower down. Okay? If you have high blood pressure, when you meditate, you will bring your blood pressure down. Improves focus, anxiety and depression melts away. Do you see? Positive thinking, digestion improves. Mind chatter slows down. Emotional intelligence. Learning ability increases. If you have learning issues, your learning ability will increase. DNA telomerase repair. Better problem solving. Intuition awaken. Self-awareness increases. Sense of well-being. Sleep improves. Intuition. Heart rate slows down, sex drive increases, slow aging, absorbs nutrients, blood oxygen levels increases, slow deep breathing, circulation increases, health cell grows, muscle relax, less addiction, growth hormone levels increases, releases feel good endorphins, hormone normalizes if you have hormonal issues, calm, clear thinking, sleep improves. And I want to talk about the healthy cell growth for a little bit. So, what brought me to meditate myself, how I started meditating, was when I was very little. I was born with sickle cell anemia. I was born with the do you guys know what sickle cell anemia is? Anybody knows? Huh?
No.
No? You know. What is it?
It's an autoimmune disease, right? That normally is found in black people.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. But what does it do?
My grandson has.
Your grandson.
He
Okay.
had to take his spleen out.
Yeah. So if you're born with sickle cell anemia, most patients that are born with sickle cell anemia, they die before 15. There's a lot of pain, a lot of pain. You know why? Because the cells are sick. Your red blood cells. And so what happens when your red blood cells are sick? When they are traveling through your blood, they get stuck like this, right? Because they have a shape, the cells have this shape, and when they are sick, they have this shape, right? And then when they have this shape, they get stuck on the other cells when they are traveling. If you don't have this issue, when your cells are traveling in your blood, they're just flowing, no pain, right? So mine gets stuck. Not anymore, I guess. I don't know, I don't feel pain for years now. But anyways, so that's how I started meditation without even knowing what meditation was. Nobody taught it to me. I just started breathing and I guess, telling myself things without music, without a guide. Back then there was nothing like that. And I noticed my pain disappearing slowly. It was a lot of pain. The pain is like this. You want to break your arm, you want to break your leg for the pain to stop. That's how much pain there is involved in it. So if you have any issues with your cells, right? And a second thing that happens, not only pain, it's a lack of oxygen, right? Because the cells is what produces oxygen, right? And I said, no, I'm gonna sing, because I used to love to sing. And I said, I am gonna have enough oxygen, I'm gonna produce enough oxygen, and I'm gonna sing. I'm gonna have so much oxygen that I'm gonna be able to sing, and I did. So meditation, I don't know if you ever read any books from Joe Dispenza. He's excellent, I love his books. There's a book called Becoming Supernatural, right? The first chapter of this book talks about this woman that had cancer. And the doctor said, no more, go home and die, good luck. And she started meditating. She was a therapist, she is. And she works today, she's one of the leaders that work with Joe Dispenza. But she started meditating in one of his groups. That's how she got healed. She got healed. She healed herself from cancer. Let's say that. She healed herself. Right? So meditation is very powerful. And if you want to know the power of neutrality, you need to get in touch with your spirit. And if you want to know any power, real power that exists within you, you need to get in touch with your spirit. And I don't even know how some people, religious people, many people I've met, that they don't believe in meditation, but they believe in prayer. And I don't even know how they pray without meditating. To me, there's not even a way to pray. How do you really pray with your spirit if you don't know your spirit, if you don't have that connection within? How are you going to pray? Are you just going to say, the Father's Prayer? It's going to be automatic. It's going to be just from your ego, from your rational mind. It's very easy to pray from your rational mind. Very easy to pray from your emotional mind. But when you pray, if you really want to pray and get in touch with the spirituality because that's what prayer is. Prayer is when you get in touch with the spirituality outside of yourself. Meditation is when you get in touch with divinity, with yourself, with the divine that exists within yourself. Then you're going to meet the power of neutrality, right? So if you want to have contact, if you want to, I meet a lot of people that say, oh, they come in, I'm so spiritual, I'm awakened, okay. But then if you ask them if they meditate, They say, I've never meditated before. That's the first question. That if the person says no, how are you going to find spirituality outside of yourself if you haven't even got in touch with what is inside? If you don't really know yourself deeply inside, how are you going to have that connection? How are you going to even know how to connect? There's no way. There's no way. Do you guys agree or no? You can say no. I don't care. It's fine. Everybody knows it's not wrong. Not wrong. There's not wrong or right, right? But some people are very firm. I've even met spiritual people that are very firm about how much they love praying and they hate meditating, that it's not necessary. They don't even understand it. And I don't even understand how they don't understand. Because to me, it's something very natural. It came to me before prayer. It's very natural. What do you guys think?
I think before it was not available. Now it's more available.
It was always available. Yeah, it was always available.
It was available, but many people didn't know about it.
Didn't know about
They
it.
were not
Okay.
informed.
They were not informed? How come?
They didn't read, no one told them. No one told them. They were not.
Nobody told them.
Lack of time, they say. If they don't
Lack
have
of time?
Or sometimes religion.
Religion blocked it.
That's dangerous meditation.
Yes, very good. Even some centers, spiritual centers, they don't agree with meditating because they don't understand it, right? They have the wrong, they're biased, they have the wrong idea of what meditation is. They don't understand what meditation is and how good it is for you. Anybody else?
But it's sometimes difficult because you are meditating, thinking in yourself, but it comes in your mind can go to another
Okay,
way.
I'm going to explain that. That's a very good point, right? Very good point. She's saying, I don't know if you all heard her, she's saying that meditation sometimes is very difficult because you're trying to, she said, you are trying to connect and trying, right? But then your thoughts come in. That's what she just said. But that's why it's not working, because you're trying. You cannot try. When you're meditating, there's no trying.
But you can develop something.
Because when you try, you judge. Every time you try, you judge. When you're meditating, there's no judgment. You got to sit there with love and with kindness towards yourself. And when you do that, you're just observing. And when you're observing and there's a thought that comes in, it's okay. You just observe the thought and you let it go. And then there's another thought, you observe it. It's okay. And you just let it go. And some people that have issues with watching thoughts, a lot of thoughts, I tell them to imagine you are sitting right when you're meditating and you have a lot of thoughts. The best thing to do is imagine you are sitting in a train station and you are sitting there imagining the train come by, stop, and then leave. Those are your thoughts. The train comes, and then between the train coming or not, you go back to what you were doing. Focusing, observing, right? Just observing with kindness and love. And then there's another train coming, and you're like, okay, another train. Let me see. Let me see the color. Let me see the size of the train. Let me accept the noise that is bothering me. Come in. Let me accept the whole process of meditation, because that is a process. And then if you accept and you observe the train coming and have patience, one day you're going to sit there's going to be no train. And you're going to be like, wow, right? That's it.
I think the big thing that I came across, and I'm a very impatient person to start.
You're
so,
impatient.
Yeah, I wanted to, somebody teach me something and I'll pay attention. I don't want to even write it down anything. I just want to, whatever time that situation come again, I wanted to just remember, automatically.
You know why? You're not patient. That's not what it,
I have no.
but what you are saying is not what it's called.
But what I'm saying.
What I'm trying to tell you is that you're very rational.
Correct, but that's
Yeah.
how I used to see it.
You
When
you use your rational brain a lot.
Correct.
You're very rational. You like results. 1 + 1 is 2.
And
2 + 2 is
Correct.
4, and that's how you do it,
Yes.
right?
And when I started doing the meditation, I would have come here, and I remember the whole time I used to say to Jonathan and to Regine and to Cynthia, I'd say, how are you guys I look at you guys, I observe you, all you guys, and you guys are like in a completely different world, and me, I'm observing saying how they can be just sitting
But
there.
that's-
and
but that's-
relax. But for me, that's the thing, because I want the thing to happen now. And of course, then I realized that like everything in life, it needs practice. Much more you practice, much better you get. And it's not like people tell, oh, like you say, sit down, imagining. You might say that, and I'm like, yeah, I'm sitting down, I imagine I'm in the middle of nowhere, but it still doesn't come to me.
Yeah.
But the thing that it took me for a long time to accept is like, I need to practice, and when I practice, when I start letting myself go and just not to think about it, even though if I'm thinking, I'm trying to ignore it, whatever thoughts coming by, I'll get to that point. And a year and a half later, yeah, I could be in the middle of the traffic jam like I was for 2.5 hours and completely dissociated
So
from anything.
you were able
that's
to
around.
shut down your rational brain, your amygdala. I don't know if you were here, but I talked about how anxiety rests in the amygdala, this part of the brain, right? And so you were able to shut that down, shut it off, and now you're able to focus and meditate and observe yourself with love and kindness.
And before I was like, oh, people's making noise, and I'm like, you know what? People can do whatever. I'm in control right now with my moment. I'll control everything that's going on, so I'm going to concentrate. And trust me, I had to tell myself like many, many times this. Now for me, it's so easy. As soon as I feel that I'm getting like too much stressed out, I walk 2 seconds, take a deep breath, and I go away for a less than a second. I come back, I'm like, okay, let's go again.
Okay.
Completely different thing.
Yes.
But for other people that is to come here, I would see like people here like 2 days later, they're completely in the Zen moment. And here I am on the track for Zen, and it was just hard to accept how people could go so easy on me. It was so hard for me just to
Practice
to
makes
practice.
perfect.
Yeah.
But once you stop observing the outside and you start observing the inside, it's so much easier, because it's also, I always tell people, it's the intention, right? It's the intention. Before you sit down to meditate, you need to have your intentions right? The intention. When you come in here to the center, you need to have your intentions right. We don't come here to learn because we know everything that we need to know already. We don't come here to learn. We come here to feel. We come here to receive and to serve. Of course, the first is to serve, right? And then to feel and to just observe and, right, go within, right? Yes, will
I
you?
was saying that I have a similar experience in the past.
Uh-huh.
I was trying to meditate, and then my mind was wandering, like the thoughts and like.
Yeah, everybody in the
It was
beginning.
kind of
Yeah.
frustrating. But the more I did it, like you said, it started like a ritual. Like, okay, I have an intention.
Yes.
With kindness, with love. You need to kind of prepare your time to do the meditation.
Yes, make that time special. You don't just go, oh my God, it's time to meditate, and sit down and like, and close your eyes and meditate. That's not how it works. You have to make it special, put smells, maybe burn some sage, and, get yourself ready,
Prepare.
Yeah. Yes. Any other questions?
It's okay to think that when you are meditating, so to go into meditation.
To call what?
To go in my meditation. I try to be very, so don't think nothing, so thinking about my brain, how marvelous is my brain, the eyes, how can I see?
That's a very good
this
question.
one?
I
Yeah.
think that
Yeah, observe
when we
myself.
start meditating,
Yeah.
the best thing to do is to do guided meditation. Why? Because it's like you have a teacher in the room. We are focusing on what the teacher is saying, right? So guided meditation, you close your eyes. The first thing you should do is focus on your breathing. When I breathe, I can hear myself really loud inside my head breathing. If you focus on that, on your inhaling and exhaling, and on what the guide is saying, you are going to do a wonderful meditation. Just focus and use your imagination while you're focusing. It will change everything for you. Right? Try to focus your mind in two things at the same time. Mm-hmm.
I was going to say that what helped me with meditation is, what are you trying to do when you meditate, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what you're trying to do when you meditate is to find the divine within you, is to find the spirit within you,
Mm-hmm.
right? Okay, so when you know that, I think it's, to me, in my case, what made it really easy is the curiosity. Like, I wanted to find, and if you don't have that curiosity, every little thought that will come to your mind, related to your everyday mind, it will catch your attention, because that's what you like. This is what satisfies you.
Yes.
But when you are deeply, you will go, no, I'm curious. I want to explore this.
Exactly.
And then when you have the curiosity
Yes.
to explore within,
Yes.
then the thoughts, they don't have that much
Because
power
of the
of
intention,
you.
right? You went in with the intention to be curious, to find yourself. The intention changes everything. And if you're true to your intention, you will get there. Today, there's a method, a therapeutic method that we use called EMDR, eye desensitization movement and reprocessing therapy. It's called EMDR, the psychologists use in practice. And today, I was doing EMDR with this girl, and it's an excellent way to help people understand meditation and to meditate, right? Because there are so many different types of meditation, okay? There's walking meditation, yoga is a type of meditation, right? So EMDR helps people to go into a deep trance, not deep, a light trance very quickly, right? So what happens is, she was very anxious. She has gastrophobia. She couldn't be in here. She would start shaking, sweating. She would want to run out. Any place with a lot of people, she can't stay. And she has a child, and she was crying. She can't live like that anymore. She can't go anywhere, right? So the EMDR, it's the eye movement because it mimics REM sleep. You guys know what REM sleep is? When we go to sleep, well, that's what scientists study. And we go to sleep, we process our brain, the rational brain, and the emotional mind and the rational, they communicate. The neural connectors are spiking up, and they're communicating, saying, hey, that car accident that happened, you're fine, you didn't get hurt. And then the rational brain goes, yeah, everything was fine. And they're communicating, right? So the brain is very dumb. The frontal lobe, after a car accident, sometimes, I'm saying car accident, but after a traumatic event, sometimes cannot take that trauma. And it sends that information to the hippocampus, this part here back in our brain. And the hippocampus holds that information inside, and it never releases it again until you work and you mimic REM sleep again, and you bring the person to the day of that traumatic event again. Even if you just remember a little bit of the event, when you put that person in that place, they can remember everything about the event. I treated a girl that was physically abused by one of her family members for years. From the age of 5 until 15, she had no recollection of it. She didn't remember. We started EMDR, she started remember. 5, 6, 7, in the bathroom, in this, da-da-da. So she could remember everything. The information gets out of the hippocampus, comes to the frontal lobe, you can remember, reprocess, and let go, and that, what was causing you the anxiety, no longer exists, because you don't know what was causing. That's why you can't let go of it. We can only let go of something that we can fully reprocess and remember. If we can't remember, but it's bothering you, you don't know what it is, right? So today I did this session with this woman, and she remembered, she said to me, when I was little, I used to feel a lot of pain, toothache. I used to have a lot of toothache. She had an issue with her mouth. And she said she was about 7 years old. She remembered when she did the EMDR, the eye movement. There was a man, a spirit, she said. She said, I went back and I saw a spirit at the door in my bedroom, observing me. So you can go there and then you can go to so many other places. But that is how you reprocess the information and you heal. And people have deep, deep experiences in meditation. So and all of us have access to it. You just have to practice and want to do it. And one day you'll get there, sooner than later. You'll be surprised. Thank you. Thank you all. You have a good night.
Thank you.